I was 14 years old when I went out for the football team. I was small for my age, weighing only 85 pounds. To keep me as far from the action as possible, Coach LaCroix put me at safety. I was standing well away from the action when our fullback, Norman, broke through the defensive line and headed straight for me at full speed. Norman was 2 years older than me and weighed over 200 pounds. I knew there was no chance to bring him down head to head, so I went for Norman's ankles, trying to trip him up. I don't know what happened after that. Maybe I took a knee on the chin. I recall being bowled over, then standing on my feet, my lumbar region hurting. The next thing I knew, I was somewhere else, a gray room marked by total silence and stillness, with thin shafts of light filled with bright sparkles filtering down. To my left were 3 large piles of silver coins. I stood still in silence, trying to figure out if the experience was real or if I was dreaming. I realized this wasn't a dream. Even today, 60 years later, I recall every detail of the experience. 3 thoughts came to mind as I surveyed my surroundings. 1. Where am I? 2. Am I supposed to be here? And 3. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to be at football practice. With that last thought, I was immediately back in my body. I opened my eyes. Coach LaCroix was bending over me, and the team was standing around me in a circle looking down. Coach helped me up and said, "Hit the showers." We all headed for the locker room. I never told anyone about what had happened, not even my parents. How could I tell anyone when I myself didn't know what had happened? I went on with my life as normal. I didn't have a clue that I may have had a near-death experience until the late 1970s, when I read Dr. Raymond Moody's book, Life After Life. Even after reading Moody, I still wasn't sure I had had an NDE. Only in recent years, after submitting my experience to the NDE Research Foundation, did I realize I had had an NDE and crossed over to the ethereal realm. A gap of about 12 years passed before I started having what people call poltergeist-like experiences. By this time I was married, had graduated from college and seminary, was serving a church, and had a wife and 2 little boys. The preternatural experiences took numerous forms. A disembodied voice calling my wife's name, my infant's wind-up swing starting to swing on its own after everyone had gone to bed, the clothes washer coming on and going through the cycles in the middle of the night, and lights coming on during the night. These events occurred in every house, parsonage we lived in, footsteps in the attic, pictures flying off walls, a latched cabinet door flying open and canned goods pouring out onto the floor. These experiences were terrifying, and I don't know if they were connected to my NDE at age 14 or not, but I've long wondered if the NDE opened me to their realm. The most terrifying of the preternatural experiences came one morning in 1980. My 5-year-old son Dave and I were eating breakfast. Dave said, "Daddy, who was that man watching you sleep last night?" His bedroom was across the hall from my wife's and my bedroom, and David had a clear view of us sleeping. The last experience occurred in March 2023. I was driving when my car radio turned on, and a voice began speaking to me through it. The voice asked, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" I reached for the knob, and the voice spoke to someone, saying, "He's trying to turn us off." Paranormal occurrences have happened to me throughout the course of my life. Then I had what Dr. Yvonne Kaysen called a spiritually transformative experience. I was serving a church in Baldwin County, Alabama, on the Gulf Coast, and had 30 minutes before needing to be in the office. I sat down to meditate. By this time, I had had a meditation practice for 22 years. I closed my eyes and began to breathe, focusing on my sacred word, when my chest cavity grew warm. It was more than a normal warmth of body temperature. It felt like someone had opened my chest and inserted a heating pad. The warmth felt pleasant. I sat there and let it envelop me. At the same time, I found myself flooded with bliss. Sensations of peace, joy, and love flooded my entire body, wave after wave. Suddenly, Elle became aware of 2 things. 1. The only thing that counts with the deity is love. The dogma of institutional religion is not as important as we think it is. The love, kindness, compassion, and goodwill we show is all that counts. And 2, I no longer feared death. The fear of death was gone in an instant, completely erased from my emotions. The STE happened 15 years ago, and today if you gave me a choice of living a healthy life for 20 more years or checking out tonight, without hesitation, I'd choose checking out tonight. This spiritually transformative experience completely changed me. The way I thought, the way I approached ministry, the way I viewed people, the way I viewed God. Everything about my life was radically altered in 30 minutes. Preternatural experiences continue to happen from time to time. In 2019, I was sitting on my patio, meditating at 3 a.m. When I opened my eyes, I observed a white orb the size of the baseball in the line of trees I was facing. The orb disappeared when it realized I was watching it. This pattern, the orb's appearance, disappearing when I observed it, then reappearing when I continued meditating, went on nightly for 3 weeks. One night I got a little spooked and went in the house, after which it never returned. I can't say whether or not all these different experiences, the NDE, the things that went bump in the night, the STE, the white orb, were connected. What I do know is that I've long had a deep yearning for union with God. They have spanned the length of my life from age 14. Now at 74, I'm retired, and while my desire is to transcend, I know death, or rather life, cannot be on my terms, only when I've finished my course, as the Apostle Paul said. I hope